Hello, everybody. So here I will present my professional README, and I will start off with going through the beginning of the instructions here and how the overview will look in GitHub. So first, it would like you to be given, when given a command line application that accepts your user input, when I'm prompted for information about my application repository, then high quality professional README is generated. So as you can see, this is generated here on my GitHub, and it will include a title, a description, table of contents, installation, usage, license, contributors, tests, and questions. So these are all included. And now I will go through my GitHub and explain how this is done. So here on my index.js, I have this constant of questions, and these questions have input types. So they include username, repo name, GitHub link, pages, email, and then it goes through the title, description, installation input. So everything from the that was included in the table of contents. So these are all input questions that require responses in the terminal as displayed here. And so, and at the bottom here, this function write to file, it creates a new function, a new file if the specified file does not exist. So this write file sync, and this is the name of the function. So the first argument here is the file name, and the second is the data. And this data is all the data that will be inputted from the questions. And then here, the function init, so the inquirer will prompt the question. So all of these questions appear, and then the responses will come from the write to file. So the README is the file name, and this README is right here, and this will input all of the responses. And then my generate markdown is this file right here, and the responses that are coming from here. So this is also included, and then we're initializing this function here. And at the top, you can see that we're requiring the FS, which is the file system, and this allows you to work with the file system on your computer to include the file system module using this require method. And then here we're also requiring inquire, which is one of the packages that we're using. And then we're also requiring this generate markdown file, which is right here. And at the bottom, you can see we're exporting the generate markdown into this file. So starting here at the generate markdown, it receives the data from index.js, and it breaks it down per name here. So here you can see it was data.title. So if we go to here, the name is title. So it'll include this data, and it'll include the information from the title. So that's what data.title is. And this will be a heading as displayed with the hashtag. And then on the top, we have the inquirer badge, and we also have our license badge, which I'll go through. And then description, so data.description, so this data from index and the description that's given. And then the table of content, so these are all links, and they'll link to the specific sections within the page. Installation, so we're receiving the installation data. JavaScript, I have a little bit of a pre-inputted information for our README just to make it a little bit more professional. And then here we have the usage data, and then the license, contributors, and I did something a little creative for the contributors section. So here, if you go down to contributors, what I did is I made it with this contributors image. So basically what this does is it uses, so it takes your GitHub username and then the repo name. So here under contributors, that's why I'm inputting your username, and I'm also inputting your repo name, and then it inputs it into this Ahref, so this link. And here, this is an example of a project where these are all of the contributors of the project. So it's very dynamic. So as you have more contributors on your project, they will dynamically appear. So here, if I do my project, I'm the only one working on the project, so you'll only see mine. And then this is why I require the repo name. And I generate, then you'll see this is my repo and only my image appears. So if I go back to my project here, I'm the only participant, I'm the only contributor on this project. But if there are multiple contributors and they were added to the project, then multiple contributors would dynamically appear. So then after contributors, then we have the tests, and that's input as well, and then questions. So that also uses my username, my GitHub link, GitHub pages link, and then email. And then here are these links to demos. They're not functional yet because the video is not uploaded, but as soon as I finish recording, then this will be available. Okay, so let's get started. I'll go through. So here in the command line, I put node and then develop/index.js, which is where the file is, and I will run that. So here I'm prompted with my GitHub username, which I'll input, and then my repository name. And remember, these are important so that the contributors section works. And then your profile link, which I have here. Pages link. Email address. The title of my project. Description of my project. So here, this goes on to describe how this project is dedicated to help creators create a quality README file without having to worry about spending too much time on it and spending more time devoted to their actual project. And then here, provide some information about your installation. So I pre-populated this as well. And it just goes on to explain how to install the application and then how to run it in the command line, and then same with information about my usage here, and then information about your license. So here you're prompted whether or not you'd like to input information about your license. So as I explained earlier, so here I'll go through the license information. So if you input MIT, then the MIT badge will appear. If it's Apache, then the Apache badge will appear. And if it's Mozilla, then the Mozilla badge will appear. And if you respond no in this command line right here in this section, then it'll return an empty string. So what will happen if there's an empty string is that over here in the table of contents, it will not appear. So right now it's linked to render license link, which is right over here. So basically, if the license is not undefined, so if there is a license, then it'll return the section in the table of contents. And if not, it'll be empty and it will not appear in the table of contents. Same with the actual section part, so render license section. So if license is not undefined, then it'll return the license and the application will be rendered under, and then it'll say what your input is, if it's MIT, Apache, or Mozilla. And that's down here in this section here, so you can see that the license will be rendered. Only if we say yes to this section. So here I'll say yes, and then I'll click MIT. And then here, provide information about how others can contribute to the project. I'll just leave this empty because I will leave it to my the link that I provided here. Although you could add extra text if you would like, and then provide information about your tests. So I'll just provide a little snippet here. And there you are. So everything has generated properly. As you can see, there's responses to all my questions. And if I go to the README, then it all appears, and I will go to my preview just so that we can see what it actually looks like. It's just reloading here. So starting at the top, we have the title, we have the NPM package, and we have the license, which is MIT. We have the description, table of contents, and I'll check that all the links work. So description works, installation, usage, license, and contributors, tests, and questions. So if we go to installation, this was pre-populated in my Generate Markdown, as I explained, just to make it a little clearer for people to see how to install Inquirer. And there's just a little JavaScript snippet. And then this is what I inputted into the command line. And then here for usage, I also inputted this in command line, so it explained how to install Inquirer, and then the license. So since there is a license, then this license, this section appears. But if there were no license, then it wouldn't appear at all, and it would be completely gone. And here, contributors, so this was the dynamic contributors, like the link that I included, and it used my GitHub repo name and my username to be able to provide these. This is my image on my GitHub. So that's where they got that image from. And then test, so test is 100%. And this says that it's the coverage, which is the measure of how much of the code in a project is tested. So anything below 100% coverage means that the module library has potential bugs. And then question, so here this has my GitHub, my username, so, and it can be accessed. This is my GitHub link, and then this is the page. This is my email for additional questions, and then these will be available once it's loaded. So yeah, that's everything. And I will go back to my README. So then again, everything appears all nice, and this is a very professional README. Okay, thanks for listening.